Welcome
decide
back.
who's hosting.
Welcome back, Gopher fans. Yep. We're a little
It
live
was a
on air
bye week
production
for
meeting.
us too, so
Yeah, hopefully we don't. Well, hopefully the Gophers don't start as sluggish off the bye as we just did. But yeah, going into week 5, cannot believe it's already week 5 of college football.
yeah,
Flying by,
that's
Kurt.
crazy. It is flying by, but our Gophers tend to start off slow, so I'm looking forward to some better football this week. Hopefully, it was tough to sit with that one during the bye week. I hate losing that game before the bye, and you just like sitting there watching all these other teams get big wins, and you're just like, my life sucks. But it's all right. We'll bounce back, and I'm looking forward to talk about this game. A lot of storylines with this one.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, get Rutgers at 11 a.m. I'm kind of glad it's an opening slate just to get right back to it. Because yeah, it's having to sit around all day. If this was like a night game, having to sit all day and just anticipate how we're going to look off the bye. I feel like it's gotten better. I feel like the Gopher games coming off a bye have gotten better. It always felt like a curse, like that in the homecoming game. Just things never seemed to go right. It seemed like in years past, but I don't know. It's getting better. But yeah, I
So
guess we'll
I
see.
did I did look up PJ's record off the bye in his time at Minnesota. I don't know if you did that
Sure.
as well, but he
I
is
didn't look up off the bye. No.
so he is 6-3 all time off of the bye at Minnesota. So um, I didn't look up to see who the opponents were each time, but that's a pretty solid percentage. So it's not like we're doing nothing obviously during the bye week. So that gave me some
Yeah.
comfort when looking at this one.
Well, I did look up, and I guess most time it's probably with the bye, but I don't know when else it would be. But anytime that we had like a rest advantage, so I guess if we had like a Thursday or Friday night game, maybe
Sure.
two, just having like an extra day. Going all the way back to 2019, the Gophers are 15-2, which I thought was
That's
surprising.
yeah. No, that's I'm surprised there's that many games where that's happened, but I suppose now
Right.
with nine conference nine conference games, people's buys kind of get flip flopped around. So no,
Right.
it's all trending ghosts. I should switch my pick here. No, I'm just kidding. Um, let's start off with this. We're ready to move on and talk Rutgers. I did want to bring this up and get your thoughts, Max. I'm not sure if you saw the Cal game, but they got obliterated. Was it 34 or 32 nothing?
34-0, yep.
34 nothing by San Diego State University. Listen, college football, weird things happen, but does that change your perspective at all? I have last game's lost to Cal for the Gophers.
To me, no, because I feel like my perspective on the game was we got beat by an inferior opponent and we just played terrible in all phases. And if anything, this just proved that yeah, Cal can slip up too. Maybe they're not, unstoppable. Um, so yeah, to me, it doesn't really change too much. If anything, it validates like, yeah, we definitely should have beat that team. But I think it had less to do with like, are we that bad? I think it was more of just, yeah, we really did not play well at all. We let the travel affect us and just were not prepared, especially like game plan wise. I think that hindered us mostly than at least offensively. I think it hindered us more than the actual play itself.
Yeah, it to me it reinforced that PJ's got to get better at getting his teams ready to go to start the year because it just our best non-conference regular season win in his tenure is Fresno State. He did beat Nebraska to open the 2022 season, so I guess got to give him a little credit there. But that was Rule's first year, was it not? Wasn't that Matt Rule's first
I
game? So
believe so.
a game that you still should have won in that environment at least. So it's just it did add to my frustration a little bit, just that the quarterback was human and not Superman, although still very good. I'm not ripping their quarterback.
Yeah.
He had a few mistakes and he's a true freshman, but um, yeah, I just think it did add a little bit of the sting to it. You're sitting on a bye, not playing after you just lost a team you were wanting to beat, so um, It is what it is. Let's see here. Turn Taco says, "Let that game go." You're right. We should. We should move on. We should move on. And then he adds, "Need to beat Rutgers." You're right. You're right. Speaking of Rutgers, Max, there's a lot of storylines for this one. Let's get into it. Gophers, like you said, versus Rutgers, 11 a.m. Gophers are a 5.5 point favorite, at least at the time I wrote that down. I don't know if it's moved since. A lot of storylines here, though, and I want you to pick out which is the most intriguing to you. Let's just give our listeners a little refresh course on what's all going on here. So first, you got maybe the most juiciest one of, I don't even know if it's more against Fleck. I think it is against Fleck. Athan versus Fleck. Those two clearly didn't get along at the time of his departure. Yeah, he's all over it. Against their old quarterback, Athan Kalikmanis is back. So that's the first storyline getting a lot of attention. There's also Rob Smith, who PJ had to fire in his second year here. He's back as the Rutgers defensive coordinator. I don't know how this man keeps getting jobs, but he is back. Kirk Soraka is back again after leaving PJ twice. I know we've talked about that. But not only is he back, now he's going up against Danny Collins, who was just an assistant the last time I believe Soraka was around. So it's kind of like, I mean, not apprentice because they're opposite side of the balls, but I don't know what that would be. It's like Simba facing his evil uncle Scar. You know, that's what Soraka versus Danny Collins is going to be in my mind. Am I missing one? Oh, and then with Soraka, you have his apprentice in Harbaugh, who's kind of really changed up the offense altogether and really taken the RPO out of it. And then on top of all that, you have Shiano and Fleck, who's the apprentice. You know, Shiano kind of brought Fleck along for a little bit there and has since stolen all of his decent coaches for the most part. So, a lot of storylines there, Max. Which one do you find the most intriguing?
Yeah, to me, I think it's the Soraka storyline against PJ and Danny Collins, and a little bit of like how does Soraka and Harbaugh do head to head. I know they did go against each other last year, but with Harbaugh, kind of, I don't know. I feel like now that Harbaugh is a little more settled into the offensive coordinator role, it's kind of like, okay, let's see what they can really do now they've had a couple years with their systems kind of being in place. And on top of that, Rutgers offensively this year has been pretty impressive. So to me, it's like, okay, can Danny Collins scheme something up to slow down this high-powered Rutgers offense? Like, what is that? Like, it's not something I think we're used to. And then on the flip side, I think the reason why the Rob Smith storyline intrigues me not at all is because their defense has not been productive. And Rob Smith I forgot he was even here, which I'm kind of glad I forgot about it because it was that bad. I think I saw I think the last time Rob Smith was coaching in Minneapolis, he was getting stomped by like 50 to Iowa. So that didn't end well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So there's a way there that kind of does make it intriguing to me, just because, like, I want to see Greg Harbaugh really excel because everyone has put up points, like you're saying, against Rob Smith, even this year. So I agree, it's probably not the most intriguing, but I am watching it. Like, I want 30 points put up on this Rutgers team, unless you're going total ball control, which we'll kind of get to. I think that Harbaugh going against a D coordinator that had some overlap, but that's kind of the matchup I guess I'm looking for. The other storyline too, we'll just bring it up. PJ's comments about Athan and his he was asked about Athan and he tried to avoid it for the most part, like, and just make it a Minnesota Rutgers thing. But I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said like he's playing at a high level, what you would expect for a guy in his fifth year in the system, something along those lines. And Athan's dad on Twitter was quick to point out that it's only his third year in this system. And so Gopher fans I saw were quickly in his comments section calling him, honestly, they were calling him a loser, if I'm going to be honest, for jumping in and talking about that there. But I just PJ, for as much as he goes over the top and complimenting his opponent, I was expecting more praise, to be honest, for Ethan. So I thought his answer was evident that there is clearly this still fractured relationship there between those two. And not that he has to come out and say a bunch of stuff. He's moved on. We have a great quarterback in Drake Lindsay. Ethan's having a great year for Rutgers, but that whole dynamic I do think is interesting, and I think it's definitely going to give each one of them in their own way extra fuel for this game. At least it should. I thought it would
Right.
give PJ extra fuel last year, and we came out, you know, flatter than a circle. So I don't know what to compare that to. I apologize for that analogy, but anyway, um, yeah. Any other
Yeah.
comments on any of those other matchups?
Yeah, I guess just with the whole Ethan thing, I mean, he's kind of doing the same thing he did last year, PJ, that is, and just kind of downplaying, oh, it's just, it's not a big deal, guys. Like it's just the opponent, like he's just the other team's quarterback, like he's having a good year and all that stuff. But I'm sure deep down it does bug him, and I do wonder if it's so much like their personal relationship, or if it's just like, even if let's say they had a great relationship and he just left for whatever reason, like he looks like he was wrong, right, for letting him go at this point a little
Right,
bit. Um, I think some of it you could be, credit to the player's probably going to get better over time, anyways, and he is still with Soraka, his old coordinator. So I don't know. It's hard to really say like who won the breakup, I guess, but yeah, PJ just kind of downplaying it. It makes sense, right? Like he's just going to try to not let it
yeah.
be a distraction, but it's
I think you
it's
could say
obviously a thing.
right. I think it worked out for both sides in a way. I mean, clearly the system Harbaugh wanted to run wasn't going to work, and a lot of Gopher friends turned on Ethan.
Right.
I mean, he was booed off the field his last game essentially against Wisconsin, and yeah, he had a really bad game, but um, clearly he's got talent. It just wasn't a good fit here once Soraka moved on. So um, that's all I really got to say on that. I got to address this comment here. Let me pull it up. Thanks, that shows. Didn't recognize you without the shades. Glad you have your names posted. Yeah. So I wore the shades for a while, and honestly, I liked them. All right, but my grandma watched, and she didn't say it, but basically implied that she liked me without the shades on. So if she's not watching this show, that's on her, and it's on me for bending to her will. But I do love
You
my
got to listen to
grandma, and
grandma.
yeah, exactly. So I took the shades off. I hope it doesn't throw you off too much, Bang Stash. But thanks for being here. Just had to address that. Um, I lost the topic list too. I'll get to it. All right, moving on, Max. I kind of addressed this for what I'm looking for, but after last game, it's a rough game for all three phases. Which phase do you think has the most to prove against this Rutgers team?
Well, I mean, I think special teams always has to prove that they just won't make a catastrophic error and lose us the game, but that's week in
I
and
was
week
gonna go
out.
with that. Yeah.
This week specifically, I think coming after last week is the defense, just with how lackluster they looked. A little bit uncharacteristic, I think, in the way they performed, just missed tackles, missed assignments. Quarterback had a great game, but I think from what we've seen of this defense and what we just expected, especially out of that front seven, that they were going to be able to wreak havoc and get to the quarterback and not give up big runs. Like I think that's something that we need to see kind of bounce back this week. Whereas the offense,
Yeah.
I think, performed about to the best of their ability. Uh, Game plan maybe just wasn't there. Not that they didn't make mistakes, but I just feel like the defense had the biggest gap between like where they could be or where they should be performing and what they did last week.
I know. Yeah, our minds are along the same thought here. My first answer is gonna be special teams. You not forget the obvious muff, and I'm not trying to just pick on Coy here. Forget the obvious muff punt. You also can't catch it when it's on the two, right? The fair catch on the two and set yourself up for a
Right.
long drive. I know Rutgers defense isn't supposed to be great, but you're not gonna have a lot of success if you're trying to drive the ball 98 yards. And so, just an overall cleaner um, game on special teams would I'm with you would be my number one. Um, and you brought up the defense. I'm This secondary is going to need to have a huge bounce back game. I mean, Rutgers has Ian Strong's their best guy, and he's a tall, physical receiver, and definitely going to require a lot of attention. But they got three of them that they really like, and they're all really good. If you're comparing Minnesota versus Rutgers, and you go to the receiver room, I think you got to go Rutgers in the advantage. They've proven to make difficult catches consistently. They're athletic. They got some speed to them too. So, like you said, the defense seemed out of position. A lot of times playing zone. Uh, they didn't seem to be up on their man, and so with Rutgers running the RPO and a lot of quick slants off of that, and then shots off of that as well. But for a lot of the RPO slant game, I'm curious to see what Danny Collins has planned and in store for that. Like, is it going to be a little bit more on the corners to stick with their guy longer? Is it more on the linebackers get depth and you're relying on the front four to stop the run? So big challenge, I think, up ahead for the defense. So I'm with you. That's what I'm looking forward to. And then, we're saying the offense has the easier of the two jobs. I'd like to see some drives, capped off with more points. We've gotten to the red zone. I think Ryan Burns has said 9 times this year and in 9 of those, or we've gotten in the red zone more than 9 times, but 9 of the times we've crossed midfield, we've come away with no points. That's got to definitely change. Um, to me, we've been okay at moving the ball. That's where I think play calling's got to help you out. I don't want to see any more of these 2-man routes when you get in the red zone. Like, it's hard enough to score in the red zone when everything's packed in all tight. Make them defend you, right? So, hoping to see a little bit help from the offensive staff there, as far as the offense
Definitely.
is concerned.
Yeah. For the amount of yards the offense is gaining, like the points are just not there. And it's a killer, right? Like
Yeah,
it's kind of like you boil it down to the different phases of offense. Like it's explosive plays, it's the ground game, and it's just finishing drives with points. And you can't just get really close to the finish line and come away with maybe three. Like
I know.
that's not winning football. And the way that they talk about it too, sometimes even Harbaugh, on one hand, yes, like you want to score before you get to the red zone. Obviously, you want to score every time you run a play. But he
Right.
makes it sound like they're trying to scheme up these explosive plays, and then they just wind up in the red zone, and it's like
I
they don't
know.
have a plan.
I
So
know.
you can't really do that if you're gonna get 5 inches from scoring, and now you just don't know what to do.
Yes, I'm so sick of hearing about receiver catcher and receiver separation. How many routes have we ran where the receivers have had a great opportunity to run after the catch? To me, it feels like a lot of
No.
back shoulder comebacks, like outs, like deep curls or in routes. Like, it's not a lot of, we're not hitting a lot of guys on the move, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Because I think we have athletes there. And granted, I will say this: like, some of the plays that have looked like catch and run opportunities have resulted in drops. So I will say that, but no, you're right. Like, it almost seems like we're like pleading to score from our side of the 50 just so we don't have to get in and call like red zone plays, because it's like they have no faith in them,
Right.
and they call it like they have no faith in them when you do like quick little play action, two guys run fade routes and the other guy just goes in the flat and there's like no threat over the field. Like, that's where I want to see us get our tight ends more involved. Um, while we're talking about
Right.
just the passing game in general, I don't know a site that will tell me this for free. What would you just put a percentage on it? Like, what percent of the time do you think the Gopher offense has two tight ends or more out on the field so far? I think it's at least
Oh.
over 50%. Like, it's been a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 70 to 80%. It
Yeah.
feels like the
Okay.
vast majority.
So our tight ends, of the 50 some catches that have happened this year from our pass catchers, the tight ends have a combined for 10. Like, it's barely at, I think it's just under 20% when I looked it up. They're out there on the field all the time, and we're complaining about lack of explosive plays, but we're also, yes, Gears had a couple drops the first game. But outside of that, like, we're not targeting them a bunch. And you go back to last game against Cal, and you didn't have Darius Taylor, who's probably one of your better pass catchers. So you thought they would like rely on the tight ends more? No, they had three of the. I have the percentage down. I don't remember the total amount of catches. They had 13% of the receptions last week between Gears and
Right.
Bieber. So it's just they're out there so much. You gotta utilize those guys in the play action. You got to be better at utilizing them. And I think he talks about explosive plays. Gears down the seam off of play action. I believe he has the talent to give you a floor of like 40 to 50 yards a game easily off the play action, just over the middle of the field as basically a security blanket. And then, like we saw week 1 against Buffalo, off of that, when they start biting down on the tight end, that's when you create a one-on-one for a guy to run a post past the guy, and the other safety bites up, creating that open space behind it. So I don't know. I just feel like we're not even. He talks about explosive plays and red zone play calling. I don't think the play calling has been there to set that up. And that's probably 2 straight podcasts that have gone on and on about it. But I'm just so sick of hearing about a receiver separation when we're down in the red zone. It's like nobody gets receiver separation in the red zone. It's packed and tight. Like, it's difficult to
Right.
score in there. And unless you're going to bulldoze them over into the end zone, you got to get more creative than just running a two route fade, and that's it. So,
Yeah.
um,
You'd think your 6'3", talented receiver would be able to create separation in the red zone, but he hasn't seen the field once.
yeah,
So yeah.
that's the other thing. I
It's-
I don't. I'm sick of hearing. Yeah, I talked about that last week. I'm sick of hearing about not being able to create separation, and yet we bring in these guys and we hear about their speed, but they're not good enough to see the field. It's like, well, you can't coach them then. You're having a problem developing, because it's not just this year. You're having a problem developing these guys with speed. But I don't even think the speed's really an issue. Like, Javon Tracy doesn't look slow out there to me. I don't think Lemecki looks slow. I
no.
just I don't think that's being schemed up for a lot of catch and run. If I'm being honest, like, there's a few deep shots taken per game. We'll give them that, but a lot of those are turning into like jump
Right.
balls. So I don't
And doesn't it
know.
feel like too when we do pick up a chunk play, we just automatically go into a shell? Like we don't like
Yeah.
compound the
Right.
gains. Like I don't know. I don't understand the offense sometimes. It's so risk averse. It's like more risky than just chucking it up because like you're just not even trying to move the ball.
It is tough to see the flow of the offense. It sometimes comes across more of a collection of plays right now, but it's early. It's still gelling together. There's a lot of new pieces. So I just need to see a little bit more from you, Harbo. We'll get it going. Stash says, I might be wrong, but didn't the recruitment of Drake sour Ethan and the family and hasten his departure? That I don't know. I'm trying to think back of the dates because Ethan left before we even got Brosmer. And we did have Drake committed before Brosmer. So possibly. I mean, if you're Ethan, though, and you're already been here for what, 3 years you was here by the time Drake was committed, that very well, Stash, could be a story that's going around. I was not aware if that's the case, and I'm just, if it is, it's pretty. If that is true, that's pretty thin skinned of the family, in my opinion. Like, you're 3 years in, they're not going to just not recruit a talented quarterback behind you, you know. So,
Right.
um, so I
Yeah, I
would
would
say
doubt that's the
that,
case. I've never heard that either.
but
I don't know.
yeah,
His dad does
um,
seem to get upset online if anyone says
his
anything
dad
negative about
is
Ethan.
active
So
in defending
could
his son,
I
which
don't
I
know.
do get, but it's not the way I don't think my dad or how I would want to go about defending my kid. If the coach said something, so be it. Like, go out there and beat him. And like, it's not even like what PJ said was necessarily bad. He just wasn't as complimentary as I thought maybe people were expecting. But it is what it is. All right, Max, we've talked a little bit about these receivers for Rutgers. I want you to give your take. Ian Strong has been a headache. I don't even think he played 2 games ago. I think he came back from injury, or if he did, he left partway through the game in their previous game due to injury before playing against Iowa. He still is tied for the lead in catches. I think he's got the lead in yards as well. If you're the Gophers, do you think Zaquan Bryan should be shadowing Ian Strong this weekend?
I'm gonna say no. Um, First, because Ian Strong is 6'3" and Zaquan Bryant's 5'10", so I don't know if shadowing him with your top guy necessarily gains you the advantage. I
Sure.
think you're gonna need safety help regardless, and not that John Nestor being 6 foot gives him like a huge advantage over
Right.
Zaquan just because of that. Um, and just because you look at the other side of the field, I mean KJ Duff, their number 2 wide receiver, is also 6'6". So
Yeah.
they're gonna have their hands full no matter what. You could shadow him with Bryant, to see how it goes if you're gonna play man or just blitz more. Um, but if I don't know, I wouldn't hate it if they just kind of tried if they tried some form of like a bracket with either Zaquan and Coy or Zaquan and Carey, but it's like which one do you bracket? Because the other one's just gonna be running down the field anyways. So it's
Yeah.
tough. It's a tough. I feel like the pass cover is going to be tight, but we're going to have to get some pressure created equally as much because
Right.
we can't give them time to get open the way they have. But as you said too, the flip side, they have utilized the quick pass game in the RPO when that does happen. But just watching the Iowa game, I mean they were getting torched in the first half, but like always, that Phil Parker defense adjusted and was able to
Yep.
create some confusion, which I think we were begging for last game. So hopefully Danny Collins watches that and
Yeah.
learns a thing or two.
No, I think the D line has to be. You have to be able to get pressure with like 4 to 5 guys in this game because you just pointed out the height. I'm with you. I don't think they'll shadow one because we primarily play zone. My thought was though with that question, like if they do keep hitting us on the quick stuff, you got to kind of man up a little bit. You got to play tighter
Yeah,
to the receiver, I should at least say. And if you're playing your corners up to take that away, it's tough for them to get into their deep drop zone. So, um, yeah,
right.
the D line's got to be a huge factor this game, just so you can keep those two safeties back to help out your corners with those two big-bodied receivers. Definitely the most talented pass catching crew that they've gone up against so far this year. We've already seen a good quarterback. My hope, yes, Ethan is mobile and they will run him. Um, my whole I think it's fair to say he doesn't have the escapability that we saw out of JKS and Cal. So hopefully that allows Anthony Smith, Devin Eastern, hopefully Jalen Logan Redding's healthy and ready to go. Um, just let those guys pin their ears back a little bit more and get after him when it is a passing situation. So, and if you're not, you got to get your hands up because that RPO comes out quick and Ethan still rockets it. Like it's still he's not like putting a lot of touch on the ball, but I mean he is PFF's number one in the Big Ten graded passer, I believe. That's what I saw. So maybe it was Pro Football Focus. That is PFF, Kurt. I was trying to think of the other one that I've seen out there, but anyway, I'm pretty sure it's PFF. So he's having a great year, and this secondary, man, I after what we saw last game, I am a little bit worried. I'll transition to this. I think it's a great opportunity for Coy to redeem himself. What are your thoughts on Coy Parrich's bounce back ability in this game?
I mean, I think it's a big test for him. I mean, if you're going to be that good of a player and continue to play, be the main returner and play some on offense, he's going to have to flush it pretty quickly. So I think he definitely can. I think, by all accounts, he's a very confident young player. So last week really shouldn't affect him coming into this week too much, especially after the bye. So I guess 2 weeks ago. Um, but it will be interesting to see. And I kind of was wondering what you thought of. Do you think they will limit his offensive play until he kind of gets back in the groove of things? Or do you think it's just going to be, why change it now? It was an anomaly of a bad
Yeah.
game. He'll learn from it and just let him keep swinging, basically.
Um, it's a good question. I don't think I'm so frustrated with the whole experiment to begin with. It's tough for me to give a good answer here. I don't think they'll change it much. Because he's not playing a ton right now to begin with. I don't think. Like in
Right.
I mean, he's out there for like a drive or two, and he's supposed to be this guy that is like giving us an element that the other guys aren't, which I would assume would be his speed and taking like the top off the defense. And I don't feel like we're seeing a lot of like post or go routes ran by Coy, and that's where if he's gonna play, where I would rather see him do. And but it is what it is. I just think with the amount he's been used so far, I have a tough time seeing them dialing that back to begin with. Now maybe they do like, hey, you know what, Rutgers receivers are legit. We're gonna need you every single play. We can't risk anything, which I've been on record. We've been on record. We're perfectly okay with. From what I've seen, I don't think we need Clay out there in offense, unless he is going to be the deep threat. Then run him deep. So that's where I see the whole Coy situation. I They talked about how good of a practice he had. If it was up to me, yeah, I'd just play him on defense and make him my primary returner because I think you have some good-bodied athletes already in that room if you're the Gophers at receiver. So, um, it is what it is. And since we're on Coy, let's get to a couple of comments here. Turnt Snocko says, hypothetical, what stats will Coy need on offense, defense, special teams next year to win the Heisman? Okay, so we're giving up on this year after that rough game on Cal. Don't blame you there. I don't know,
What did
like
Travis
the
Hunter do?
return yardage. Yeah, I don't know the return yardage. Like, I'm not gonna even look up what Hunter did offensively because I don't think Coy's ever gonna be that at receiver. I mean, Hunter's primarily a receiver now in the NFL, and I don't think that's gonna be Coy's mold. So, I'll go with like Coy would need probably 2 to 3 return touchdowns and like punt return, kick return. I'd say at least two. I think he would need 10 interceptions. Well, what do you have? He had 5, right? So not 10. I'll go 7 interceptions, um, 2 defensive scores, 2 special team scores, and then I think he would need to be like a 500-yard receiver and multiple. And then like if 500 yards is the most he got receiving yards, then he'd need probably like 8 receiving touchdowns too. You know what I mean? And then if
Right,
you add more yards, you can probably decrease the touchdowns, but that's just how my head works it out. So that would be mine.
right,
500 receiving yards, 8 offensive touchdowns, 2 defensive touchdowns, 7 picks, probably a couple forced fumbles in there, and 2 special teams touchdowns. That would be my guess of what it would take.
right. Yeah,
And I
and
know that's Lottie,
probably
but it is the Heisman, and he's going to have to beat out
right,
quarterbacks who get handed the award when they can. So,
right. And most of those can't come against, I don't know, Northwestern State. Like
sure.
it's got to be against the Ohio States and Oregons and Penn States too. He's got to be have the quote unquote Heisman moment, if you will. So
Right.
he should theoretically have more opportunities for it if he's playing all the time. But
Right. Spank Stash says, Coy is going to splash in this game. You heard it here first. Hey, I hope so. And I fully expect Coy to bounce back after the tough game. I'm sure he knew it. I'm sure he saw a lot of the disappointment in the fans' reaction to his last game. I'm expecting good things from Coy. Stash House says the irony is Coy, though only a few targets, has the best hands on the receiving crew. Probably. I mean,
I don't know if we
yeah, I
know
don't
that.
even know. Have we? That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't know if we've even seen enough to know that he hasn't dropped one. I don't think so. That's good. Is Jalen Smith gonna be a full time player this year or not? That's up for the. That's what I'm kind of curious to see this week is how many opportunities does he get when he's really struggled to catch the football. Um, I'd like to see more targets to Javon Tracy. I don't know if maybe Lemecky's had like a drop, but Lemecky had a great game last week too, or last game too. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. The drops have definitely killed this offense at times, but I feel like it's been. I don't want to. I think it's kind of been more. It's been a couple of guys, but it's mainly been our redshirt freshmen out there trying to do too much. I think, but I
right.
don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Lemecky's done enough to show he is like the true wide receiver one on this team, and yeah, I don't know that it's fair yet to say that Coy has the best hands of the receiver crew, just because of like for what you said. I don't think Tracy's really been targeted enough from what we've seen. He's made some plays, and I think
Yeah,
Tracy's a guy too that needs to get the ball in his hands. Like he's got that kind of run after
yeah,
catch ability, and that's also something that I think Coy has. Look at what he does in the return game. Like, why is he not getting screen passes where he can just get into space and make something happen? Like, he's kind of that aggressive ball carrier, if you will, that
Right.
kind of just needs to get the ball and go. So I don't know.
I know
It feels
I know we
like,
don't
and maybe that's the thing with like all the receivers or with like the game plan. It's just, are we trying to get too fancy or too cute, if you will? Like,
I don't even
can
know
we
if it's
just
fanciness. I think the offense is bland, to be honest. And I'm not talking about the personnel. I
sure,
think the Gophers have a very talented personnel. I don't think we put enough stress on the defense. The run game, there's like really never any misdirection in the run game. It's pretty straightforward or stretch, like nothing that they're really having to react to too much. Again, I don't have all access film to like watch every route, but it doesn't feel like we're running a lot of, the routes feel like one cut and go. Like it doesn't feel like it's a lot of, and
right,
not that we need to get crazy here, but I it feels bland and then like a collection of plays that doesn't really flow together right now. But it could be the newness of the players playing together. We'll roll with that for now since we're only 3 games in. But definitely something to watch. What I was gonna say, Max, you mentioned getting Coy the ball in space. Like I know we don't run this anymore. Like the RPO has gone away, which is something I would have liked to see him stick around at least a little bit. But Coy is like I feel like the perfect player for the tunnel screens we always used to run to like Chris Hotman Bell and stuff back in the day. It's
right.
like Coy is like the perfect athlete to run those to. Like get him moving a little bit horizontally with the ball in his hands, but he gets to see the field and make his cuts and kind of pick where he wants to cut it up. So I don't know. I would like to see maybe some of that come back, but it is what it
Yeah.
is. Um, Stash agrees. He agrees about Brockton. Also need to look for Tracy Moore. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because everyone wants to see more from the receivers, and then also the tight ends are out there all the time and not getting a lot of targets either. So I don't know. I feel like it's been, I don't know. Just need a little bit better of a mix. We got some nice things to work with. We're just a pitcher that's got to hone it in. And by the end of the year, we'll be Noel and Ryan. All right. Let's get into this, Max. Let's feel free to touch on anything offensively, defensively that we didn't. Let's get into your keys of the game and how you see this one playing out.
Yeah, I guess the first key that I had is really just our success on the ground on offense. Looking at the Rutgers defense, and really both sides for Rutgers defense, they're currently 112th in yards per rush and
Yeah.
120th in yards per pass. Um, but I feel like for our offense to really operate at its highest level, it starts with the ground game. Um, that's with both the running backs and the offensive line playing to their best potential. I Do we think Darius Taylor's back, or are they going to rest him one more week?
So we'll never know by what's been told, but my gut says he's back. I think,
I
given
hope
that
so.
PJ sounded so positive after the game initially where he got hurt, which again could always mean nothing. Remember, Cody Lindenberg was this close to playing for like 2 months a couple years back.
Right.
Um, I my gut, I feel like Darius is going to play. I think they made the call to rest him at Cal and have him full go. Maybe not even full go, but 85% against Rutgers. Now that being said, I think we'll see more of Feme regardless, just because of the
Sure.
injury to Darius. So, but I feel really good about what we saw of Feme last game.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I'm not concerned about the running backs. I just think there is a little bit less you can do with them in a sense. And I think it's
right,
enough that you can do with them to win, and especially against if this defense really is struggling that much. I mean, they gave up
yeah,
31 points to Iowa. Like, that's not good. So,
it's ran by Rob Smith. That's all we have to say. The
right.
man that's literally been fired from every coordinator job he's had, except Arkansas, where he was going to get fired, but PJ picked him for the Gophers defensive coordinator when he started here. It's the only time he hasn't been fired, I'm pretty sure, from his coordinator spot.
That is an interesting nugget that I wish wasn't true.
Yeah,
So yeah, ground game success first and foremost for me offensively. Defensively, we touched on it. I mean, these are some big physical wide receivers, but they're going to get the ball in their hands. They're going to make some plays. It's really just going to be limiting the deep ball. We can't let it be an easy just go route that they just crease us for a couple touchdowns. It's got to basically just make them drive the length of the field. Hopefully Ethan can throw a pick, or we can force a turnover or something. Which is definitely my third key, is take the freaking ball away, because I feel like we were doing so well at that last year. Um, Northwestern State doesn't really count. I don't think we have an interception yet against either Cal or who did we play week
Buffalo.
one already? Buffalo.
Buffalo. Yeah.
So if we can get a turnover on defense, I think that can make all the difference as well. Just try to slow down that offense that has been so productive. So ground game, limit the deep ball, take the ball away. Overall, I do think Minnesota can win this one. I've got our score at 27-20, maybe a little bit lower scoring based on what Rutgers has done offensively, but it is a game of two offenses that don't really run that up tempo. And it really, we'll see what our defense looks like, I guess. If we're getting gashed, it could turn into a little bit of a shootout. But then that also puts the onus on, are we going to call plays that combat a shootout? Or are we just going to stick to our vanilla offense? But I'm going to predict to go for win 27-20.
I like it. I see the same way. If you're the Gophers, I think you're looking at what Rutgers has done offensively. I think they've proven it. If I know Iowa's secondary isn't as good as maybe some of their best units they've had, but it's still a good defense, and they threw all over them, especially the first half. So I think they PJ wants to try and turn this into a little bit of a keep away game, make Rutgers feel like they have to press when they do have the football. So I'm with you. I think Darius Taylor, if he plays in for a big game, same with Feme. Um, I want to see us, because I think it's going to be. I'm not saying we can't gash them. I just think it's going to be more of what we've seen along, like the Gophers getting some nice little chunk plays here and there, driving the ball down the field. Red zone play calling is going to be critical. It is one of my keys to the game, just because we've been so bad at it, and you want to finish with touchdowns. Because I'm not saying the defense won't bounce back, but I think Rutgers is good enough to hit a play or two here on you. Like, they're going to be able to push the ball down the field, even if you're, got them double covered. And sometimes the receivers are that good. So, um, offense playing keep away, execute in the red zone, and defense get pressure on Ethan. I know it sounds obvious, but when he's had time to throw this year, he has been lights out. And we saw he was lights out last year against us in the first half when we didn't bring pressure on him at all. So I'm really hoping that Danny Collins, is adjust quickly if he starts getting hot again, because once he's hot, he's kind of streaky like that. It's tough to get him off his game once he's feeling it. So um, I do think it's going to be higher scoring. I think the defense is going to have to settle in a little bit. I think Rutgers is going to come out firing, especially Ethan with some revenge. I know he got us last year, but I think he wants to win again. Both teams want to win, but there's a little bit extra for both sides in this one. So I'm going Gophers 30, Rutgers 24, and so a little bit more points. I think the Gophers have to fight off a drive late to secure the victory, but I think we do get it done, just because I think our run game is more reliable. And the Rutgers offensive line hasn't been great. I know they're not terrible, but I think Anthony Smith, if he's ready to go, can have a nice game. So,
Yeah, definitely.
Stash had a couple more thoughts in here. Oh, wrong one. What happened to the quick slants? Tyler Johnson's 8. You can step with that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like everything's so, I don't know. Like, that's what I mean when I don't think the receivers are given a lot of opportunities to get some yards after catching this offense. I don't remember a ton of plays other than Jalen Smith's deep crossing post against Buffalo. Like, that's why I want to see. I want to see Jamison Gears up the seam off of play action, more slants, slant and goes. Just a little bit. I don't think the shots down the field have been incredibly creative, and it's funny to say that, just because Drake Lindsey's average depth of target is still like 10+ yards down the field. It's just, I feel like it's a lot of outs or curls or comeback routes. It's not a lot of, I don't think we're hitting a lot of moving targets down the field, but it is what it
Right.
is.
Yeah. And like we've touched on, I mean, just plays that kind of complement each other. Like let's not run play action when we've had no success on the ground. Like
Right.
you're
Right.
not fooling anyone. Or even I mean, I think we ran a play action on like 2nd and 20 last game where it's like
Yeah, you never
I
know
don't
though.
think
With PJ, with PJ and his how he likes to
that's
run, you never
true.
know.
That's true.
But and I don't know if we emphasize this enough. Like we brought up the numbers. Rutgers defense, like they're just a different mold as a team. I should say this year. Like the defense is the weakness, the offense is the
Yeah.
strength, and Ethan's good. Like he's a really good quarterback. Which I mean, there's been a lot of good quarterbacks this year in the Big Ten, which is kind of fun to watch. But also, defense be ready for it. So
Right.
Stash says, sorry, boys, I'm getting carried away with the comments. I'll stop. You don't got to stop, Stash. Actually, it makes it more fun when people chime in and give their thoughts. So I don't know if people think we're just crazy here blabbering about it, if they're agreeing with us. So comments are encouraged.
Sometimes it bails us out. We don't really have much to
That's
talk
right.
about sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Ethan, you're right. Ethan has turned into a very good quarterback. Um, and I guess just one other note too, statistically on Ian Strong, in all the 3 games he's played in, he's had 7 or more receptions and 100 or more yards. So
Yeah.
it's no secret what they're gonna do. It's
No.
just can we limit the explosives and can we answer that like
It's right.
against their inferior defense? So
We're going to get RPO'd to death. So
right,
linebackers, get ready to move around, fly around out there.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, you want to do your you had a nice transition there. We had some tragic news here, everybody, in the college football world today. Mike Gundy was fired, and personally, I think he's one of the best uh, personalities in college football. And so, I'm not saying it was the wrong move. I probably would have given him the end of the year or like the rest of the year to coach out and like let everyone know it's his last season because I mean, he had some phenomenal teams there, and it's not an easy place to do that at. So Max pulled up this complication here of uh, some of his highlights. So we'll play that here.
Platform for people that are sitting home drawing an unemployment check. How can you not take the trash out when I told you for 2 years, if you walk by the door and there's a bag of trash, take the trash out? I'm a man. I'm 40.
That's my ringtone for everything.
Oh, it is?
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Glad that wasn't mine. Yeah. Well, I changed mine last night. I figured if he was going to use my ringtone, I should certainly use his ringtone.
We can be as competitive as anybody in the country on any given day.
We want everybody in the country to know, with all due respect, we got a logo too. The sides that you get on Thanksgiving, you don't get any time during the year.
It started to sink in when I had to get up at 5:45 a.m. and be here before them and prepared for a practice. It sunk in real quick.
But then when he did it, I said, oh, heck, I got to do it now. So when I got home, of course, I got it. Kristen said it made her kind of throw up in her mouth a little bit. Where are you from?
I'm from Sports Illustrated.
Sweet.
I'll be farming. That's what I do. I don't know if I'm any good at it, but I like to do it.
I can't just sit on by a pool and just look around. And I am a vacuuming full, and I am a bathroom cleaning full. I'm a closet Donkey Kong guy. So Todd and Wild Bill, they gave us a crash course in about a 15-minute period on the 3 defense mechanisms of a rattlesnake. You remember when in Animal House when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Well, I was in the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor, and one of the young coaches go, Coach, we don't play TCU. I'm like, well, if we played them.
I was concerned because it's been so long that I didn't know if I could still do it, but I can still do it.
Never seen anything like it. Past my bedtime. I double on Ambien. You do them, 10 milligrams?
Helps you sleep, huh?
I think so. I don't remember. Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I'd have brought a lot to share. Throw a little vodka in there, it'd been a lot better. There wasn't any vodka. That's from this morning. Spilled that sucker. I'm glad I spilled that smoothie on my shirt, sweatshirt. I almost forgot about Stride Stadium. You walk up next to a 5-foot Western Diamondback rattlesnake and you're not scared, but you're scared to jump out of a plane. Yeah, I am. And motorcycles scare me.
Mike Gundy. I always liked him. I know he
Yeah.
wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I thought he was great. I actually liked Oklahoma. I still do like Oklahoma State, but that was great.
Yeah.
Stash says, I'm man. I'm 40s right up there with Morris playoffs. I completely agree. It is gonna live on in eternity, and I don't know, like Gundy. I know he went to school there. I'd be curious to see if like one of these schools thinks that if we get NIL behind him, a bigger NIL push, like would he be better? I don't know. Like, but I'm wondering if any of these schools, like if he went to Florida after this year or something like that, I wonder if they would take a shot on Gundy. But I don't know.
Right. It'd be weird to see him somewhere else. Like these coaches
I
that have been at
know.
places for so long, for them, it's like, do they even want to go anywhere else, or are they just like, yeah, that's it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Turnt says home field advantage and Sky Uma go Gophers. That's right, Turnt. Hey, we all got the Gophers winning, so even if we sound
Yeah.
negative, it ain't all that bad. Let's see here, Max. All right, yeah. We are on to I see what Stash is saying. Gundy to UCLA? So UCLA's got so many problems right now. I don't think any coach wants to touch that, to be honest, unless they really got to get all their stuff in order. They got a huge debt going on. They're kind of focused more on basketball than anything from the sounds of it. So yeah, I don't know if that's appealing to Gunny. Maybe. I mean, if he was in the Big Ten, I don't know if his personality fits California, to be honest. But
I was gonna say, I don't know if
that'd
Gundy
be a
wants
fish out of
to be
water.
let loose in LA.
Yeah, he might scare all the homeless people. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
all right.
I could be totally wrong on this. Was Gundy out of the Mike Leach tree or no?
I don't know. It's probably a Googleable thing. I'll
It
Google
for
it.
some reason
Finish your
it just feels like he is like an extension of a Mike Leach in a way. And maybe it's more just his personality that he's just a constant soundbite and kind of a big personality, but I don't know why. I could be totally I don't even know where he coached before Oklahoma State, so I could be completely wrong on that.
My quick Google says no, but Google could be wrong.
Well, he was Mike Leach esque in a way, just with his press conferences, and he always kind of seemed like a coach that you kind of just wanted to play for. Like he just seemed
Yeah.
maybe he's totally different in front of the team, but a fun a fun coach. You don't always get that with these guys.
There was a lot of players that came out like saying thanks for everything, coach. So I think he was well liked by players and former players for the most part. So good
Yeah,
on you,
that's
Mike
good.
Gundy. You're a legend in my book. And that's the only book that matters if we're being honest here. Max, we're on to the Sky U Pod Parlay of the week. We save it to the end because we're hoping you guys stop listening to us because I am over for it. Now, USC really did me dirty last week, but I'm ready to bounce back. I thought about picking Rutgers just to guarantee the Gopher W. I'm not going to do that though. I do find one I like better than anything I've seen. I know it's a weeknight game, Friday night, but Florida State is 6.5 point favorites on the road against Virginia. Virginia has a loss to NC State on the year, and then they've pounded two teams that are total crap. I think it's a disrespect thing to the Seminoles. So give me Florida State minus 6.5 on the road against Virginia Friday night.
I like that. Yeah. No, Florida State's look pretty good. I don't think Virginia's like the toughest place to play, so I like it. For mine this week, I am gonna go with. I was between two. I'm gonna take BYU. They are 6.5 point favorite at Colorado. I don't think BYU's played anyone too big yet, but I feel like since Retzloff left the program, I think they kind of got written off a little bit. But
Sure.
their new quarterback, he's a freshman, that Bear Bachmeyer. He wears number 47, which is striking to see. Like it doesn't look right, but he's played pretty well. He can run a little bit. Colorado's, I think they're going back to Salter at quarterback. They're still trying to figure out that whole situation. So I don't know. It just feels like BYU could stomp Colorado in this one. And they did play last year in the Alamo Bowl, and BYU took it to them pretty good. I know this is a lot different than that situation,
Right.
but we saw these two teams play not that long ago, and we saw what could happen. So
Yeah.
take
I
the
like it. Spencer did text us in his lock. He's taking Syracuse plus 6.5 against Duke. Again, Spencer's always off the board for where I'm looking, but I cannot question the man's record at this point. He's been doing pretty solid. So, though that is your Sky U Pod parlay of the week, and folks, it is just an absolutely loaded, loaded weekend of college football. If you got plans, cancel them. Newsflash, Dad won't be at the cabin to help you put stuff away. I'm watching football. Where to even start? 11 a.m. Do you have the lines up, Max? Because I don't.
I've got a few of them up. I think I've got the top games up here,
Okay.
but I can quickly pull them all up.
Is USC still getting? I'm sorry. Is USC still 6.5 point favorites at Illinois?
Yes, last I
Okay.
saw.
Ideally, this would be a huge bounce back game, and I know USC's traveling from way out west. I don't know. I don't think USC's offense is necessarily as physical as Indiana's, but I think it can be still kind of as explosive. And I do think USC's defense is good enough to like make Illinois play at a respectable rate, just with how much Illinois' offensive line has struggled. So I could be falling for the trap here. I'm going to take the Trojans on the road to cover.
Yeah, that's a tough. I agree with all those points, and I think USC is a much better team than last year, especially in the ground game. Like they've been really impressive with their running backs.
Yeah.
It could be one that USC completely blows them out, and Illinois is coming off that beat down against Indiana. But I'm just gonna take Illinois and the points at home early in the morning. Maybe they can
Sure.
limit the fast start. I feel like for Illinois, this is kind of like your last stand. Like this, you can't let the season get away from you this quickly.
Right.
It is an opportunity to beat a very good USC team at home. So if Bielema can have them ready to go at 11 a.m., kind of flush the last loss, I don't know. I'm just going off of hope that the
Yeah.
Illini can do it.
No, it's a tough game to predict. Geez, the Friday slate's good too. Skipped right over that. I do want to pick this one just because it's getting a closer line than I thought. I'm tipping my hand here. Notre Dame's at Arkansas. Notre Dame's a 3.5 point favorite against Arkansas. I think that concern is just because Notre Dame's defense has really fallen off from what it was last year. But the
Right.
Irish are in a desperate situation, and Arkansas just had a tough loss. I know it's at home, but I'm going to take the Irish minus 3.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take Notre Dame as well. The two losses were tough, but I still think Notre Dame's like a top 10 team in the country, and Arkansas's got a splashy offense, but I don't think they're that good to be that close with this
Right.
Notre Dame team.
Right. This 2:30 slate is insane. So we'll start with, I think, the least talked about game I've seen this week. Ohio State's traveling out to Washington. This is 2:30 on CBS. Ohio State is minus 8.5. And I believe it opened up closer to 10. And I was going to be all Huskies. 8.5. So I know it's not much different. I will take the Huskies at home. They've won 22 straight home games there. And that's a tough environment. And I don't know. I really believe in Washington's offense. What I do worry about is if Ohio State's D line just kind of eats the O line alive. Just not that I think Washington's O line's bad. I just think Ohio State's D line is that good. But that many points at home, I'll take the Huskies to give them a close one.
Yeah, that is gonna be a really good game actually. And you're right, it is not one that's been talked about enough. I think I'm gonna take Ohio State just getting
Yeah.
it just barely over it. To me, it's almost like you're essentially getting them at 7 because like they're gonna have to win by more than that anyways. So
Sure.
I'll take Ohio State under 10 points.
Fair. Another 2:30 game. LSU at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 1.5 point favorite. This is really tough, and I know Ole Miss has looked good. I just think LSU is gonna get the W, so I obviously got to take the Tigers. So give me LSU. I just trust them more.
Yeah, I probably would have taken LSU for every reason I could think of, but I don't know if you saw this.
I think I did. I know where
Lane
you're going with
Kiffin
this.
is going to put up some points on this LSU defense. For those
Yeah.
that have not seen, the starting linebacker Whit Weeks for LSU, I guess it came out that he is in a relationship with Lane's daughter. So I think in response to it, I think in response to one of the social media posts, Lane commented and just said, "Take the over,"
That's
which is a
hilarious.
great like Lane Kiffin response.
Yeah.
But part of me thinks he's like seriously going to just be like, "I'm we're putting up 50 on this team." Like, I don't know. So yeah, I'll take Ole
Maybe.
Miss at home and the
Sure.
slight favorite, but I do think LSU. I think LSU can. I think LSU is a better team, but I don't know that they always play good,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any
No, that's fair.
sense. But
Another 2:30 game on the Peacock. You gotta have Peacock to watch this one, or YouTube. That's just a little hint out there. You didn't hear it from me. Um, Indiana is at Iowa after that massive win. Does this spread surprise you? It's -7.5 Hoosiers. I'm not surprised Hoosiers are a favorite. Are you surprised it's that big going to Kinnick after such a big win?
I'm surprised it's not a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to take Indiana. Kinnick
No,
is a
I
tough
am
place to
too.
play, but that is one that it did give me pause. But I did look it up. Iowa as a home underdog in the last like 10 years against the spread is like 50-50. Like it really
Okay,
hasn't when they're an underdog.
sure.
So for that reason, Indiana's
I just think
Indiana's
Indiana's
looking
that
real
good.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And Iowa's got a great offensive line, but I'm still I don't know if the passing offense has come around enough to really challenge Indiana, if that makes sense. And I think that everything's going to be wide open for Indiana. Like they're going to be taking their
Right.
shots on the field, and I don't think Signetti's the guy to shy away if, from from a tough defense. I think he's just going to be like, no,
Right.
we should be able to put up points on these guys. So he's going to force it. So, yeah, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Iowa covers. I would be shocked if Iowa wins. So I am going to take the Hoosiers though. I want to pick this one just to be fun. The same 2:30 slot. UCLA is at Northwestern on Big Ten Network. Hey man, if you're tuning into that one of all the games at 2:30, more power to you, man. You're just a college football fanatic, and you're kind of sick in the head that you want to just see some teams battle at the bottom there. Northwestern is a 6.5 point favorite against UCLA. So here's the thing: I'm going to take Northwestern because UCLA is a dumpster fire right now, but that's a lot of points even to give Northwestern, I think, at home. But
Right.
I'm going to take Northwestern.
Yeah. Man. I will take yeah, I'm gonna take the Wildcats as well. Because UCLA might be really that dead. I don't even know who's even coaching for UCLA. Like, do they just have some interim assistant guy, or is it just
Well, no,
Nico?
I, I think once their first couple losses happen, I don't think I've heard or seen any UCLA fan on Twitter. I think they all deleted their accounts. I don't see anything from them. I sense zero
It's
presence out
tough.
there.
It's tough.
Um, then just two amazing games to end the night. Oregon at Penn State. It's the whiteout. Penn State's a 3.5 point favorite. Here's the thing. This is supposed to be Penn State's year. Drew Aller hasn't been fantastic. The whole offense has stuttered. Oregon has looked great. And I know it's a tough environment, but like, I don't know. Like, maybe Oregon, if Penn State was just playing with their food up until then I'll think they'll win. I'm gonna take Oregon though. I just think Oregon has looked like the much better team, and I know it's not been the necessary. Well, Penn State hasn't played great competition either, so you can't even really say that Penn State's played tougher teams. 'Cause I don't think they have. I just think they've been playing with their food, and I think Oregon's coming ready to go full speed. So I'm gonna take Oregon, and I think Oregon's gonna win.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it can be within 3 points, if not just win it outright for Oregon. Um, they've looked, I mean, they've looked as good as they did last year, I think. And I think too with like going to Penn State, it is a time zone deal, but at least it's later in the day that they can maybe
Yeah,
catch up a little bit. And I don't see a Dan Lanning team showing up not motivated or not ready to play. So
unless it's like and I feel like they got their like slow start game out of the way last week against Northwestern, where they kind of came out flat. But
sure,
um, I just want to say because there was a preseason thing put out, and it had Drew Aller in the top five. I think it had him at like number 2 or number 3 as quarterbacks in the nation. Does anyone think Drew Aller's the top 5 quarterback in the nation so far this year? Anybody? I don't. I think, especially with the
no,
play you're seeing in the Big Ten, he's not. But you got John Mater out of Oklahoma. I'd put the LSU guy above him. Like I just want to say I put out that post where all I did was comment like Aller's not top 5, and all these Penn State fans were like, "You're just crapping on Aller for no reason. He gets all this hate." I mean, he hasn't put it together, so I don't know. I don't know what you prove me wrong, Drew Aller. Prove me wrong. Looking forward to seeing that game. Then you also have Alabama at Georgia. Georgia is a 3.5 point favorite. The over under is 52.5. I did consider taking the over as my lock. I think this is going to be similar to Tennessee, Georgia, and I know those teams settled down a little bit in the second half, but Bama definitely has the ability to hit big plays as we saw against Wisconsin. And I know Wisconsin sucks, and I love that they suck and they're stuck in their suckiness, but they do have a good front seven, so it wasn't like they were playing against air. I think Bama's going to be able to put up points. All that to say, I like Georgia at home. I think Georgia's on a mission. Again, it's a trust thing. I think the quarterback for Alabama is legit and he's a really good player. It just I trust Georgia's defense to come up with more stops at this point.
fair. I really like Alabama's weapons on offense. So
Yeah,
if they're going to get 3.5, I would take it. I feel like for this game, I would take whoever's getting the points because I think it's going to come down to the very end. So Alabama's the dog. I'll just take the free points.
I just like the vibes around Georgia better. I don't know, like maybe they have it off
Yeah,
their back a little bit after the beatdown of Wisconsin, but we'll see.
yeah. To me, I feel like Alabama losing to Florida State looked worse at the time, and they didn't play well at all, obviously.
Sure.
But I feel like since then, we're like, oh yeah, Florida State's actually not what they were last year, and Alabama,
Right.
like you said, hasn't played really anyone, but they've stomped everyone since. So
Yeah.
I think Alabama's okay, everyone.
So we picked opposite a lot.
I think so. We both had Notre Dame and Indiana and Northwestern and Oregon.
Oh yeah, Oregon.
Half?
Well,
I
more
don't know.
than more than I feel like what we've been doing. Anyway, that'll do it from us. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate the comments. If you don't mind, please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching. And hey, if you like it, if you want us to grow and be able to provide even better content, feel free to share with a friend and have them hit that subscribe button as well. We'd appreciate it. So we are your Gopher Football collegehuddle.com affiliate. So go ahead and check out the collegehuddle.com for all your college football content. Appreciate you guys. And as always, go Gophers.